Enenea Kale A. Guzman from Taguluan Community College under the course of Bachelor of Science in Hospitality Management. And I will show you the history of tourism and hospitality in the Philippines. So, let's start! So, we all know the definition of tourism and hospitality. But what is hospitality in the Philippines? This is the most common language that describes how Filipinos drink non-natives or excursionists who visit the country. For Filipinos, it's a pleasure and the country's honor to accept non-natives as scholars and make a genuine connections and fellowship with them. So we will learn if Filipino hospitality is a myth or a truth. In this day of age, Filipino history is sometimes perceived as a myth to promote the Philippine tourism or that the unusual kindness is just an act, full of insincerity and sycophancy in order to get something in return. This may be true in the eyes of people who don't understand the origin of this trait that best describe the Filipinos among their nationalities. Filipino hospitality in history. A well-recognized Filipino historian, Teodoro A. Agoncillo, mentioned in this book, History of the Filipino People, that hospitality and most Filipino traits were acquired from the Malayan traditions. So this is a page of the book of Teodoro A. Agoncillo. That said there that the Filipino has very close family ties. The family has been the unit of society and everything revolves around it. The Filipino family ordinarily consists of the grandparents, the parents, and the children. The father is the head of the family, but while he rules, the mother governs. For it is the mother that reigns in the home. She is the educator, the financial officer, the laundry woman, and the cook. It is a very taboo character if you don't respect especially the elderly. Origin of hospitality industry in the Philippines. The Malays, led by the sovereignty of Aidato, were known as the first to migrate and inhabit the southern regions of the country, long before Ferdinand Magellan discovered the Philippines. It is the small communities called barangays where most of the core traits of the Filipinos had developed. This noble intention can be perceived by others in some cases. The most common misconception of the Filipino hospitality is the thought that Filipinos are putting their guests, particularly the foreigners, up to the pedestal because of inferiority and servility. The best example of this was when the Spaniards first stepped foot in the country. In the contrary, the truth behind Filipino hospitality is the thought that no guest or visitor should get harmed under one's roof as Filipinos values the utmost loyalty of a friend to the extent that friends are treated as family. That's right. They also have a high regard to their family name and reputation. For any reasons to be shunned by society is something to be avoided. Filipino hospitality knows no bounds whether you're a foreigner or a Filipino, and being sensitive to the needs of a house guest knows no socio-economic status. If visitors come unannounced after the mealtime in any Filipino home, expect some snacks and drinks to be served. Also, if a relative or a family friend will have to stay for the night, the most comfortable room and bed will be provided, even if it means that some members of the family will have to share a bed for that evening. And that is right, my friend. On the other hand, a typical Filipino visitor has always some part of a token or presents to offer the host, whether it's a form of delicacy or a new gadget from overseas. It is merely a small gesture of gratitude for accommodating them in spite of short or no notice at all and not because of anything else. So, in actuality, Filipino hospitality goes both ways, whether you are a visitor or if you are the visited. Very good to know whenever dropping by, and you can expect to make friends quickly in this beautiful country. So, it's fun in the Philippines. So, we're done with the history of hospitality in the Philippines. Now, let us go to the tourism, the history of tourism in the Philippines. Let's start! Tourism is an important sector for the Philippine frugality. In 2019, the trip and tourism assiduity contributed 12.7 to the country's GDP. The Philippines is an archipelagic country composed of islets with 81 businesses divided into 17 regions. The country is known for having its rich biodiversity as its main sightseer magnet. Its strands, heritage municipalities and monuments, mountains, rainforests, islets, and diving spots are among the country's most popular sightseer destinations. The country's rich literal and artistic heritage, including its carnivals and indigenous traditions, is also one of the lodestones of the Philippines. Popular destinations among excursionists are Cebu, Boracay, Palawan, Siargao, and numerous further. Still, despite this large eventuality, the sightseer assiduity of the Philippines has lagged behind its Southeast Asian fellows like Thailand, Vietnam, Malaysia, Singapore, and Indonesia due to political and social problems. What's the origin of the tourism and hospitality assiduity? The first given trip agency, started by Thomas Cook in England, appeared in the mid-1800s and offered a package that included road tickets and a coexisting stint book. Many times prior, the ultra-modern hostel assiduity got going in the United States with the opening of the City Hotel in New York in 1794. So when did tourism begin in the Philippines? As early as 1950s, Filipinos had firmly realized that eventuality of tourism assiduity as an important element of the growth of the Philippine frugality. Tourist advance gradationally increased as the country started recovering from the impacts of World War II. So, what makes Filipino hospitality different from all others? Filipino hospitality has no borders or boundaries. Guests are made to feel like lords and queens, with the host always making sure that the guests are comfortable and well fed. Kain na and kumain ka na ba are expressions that we Filipinos always ask to a visitor. So, what is the first hotel built in the Philippines? It is the Manila Hotel. The hotel is the oldest premier hotel in the Philippines, built in 1909 to rival Malacanang Palace, the official residence of the President of the Philippines, and was opened on the commemoration of American independence in July 4, 1912. What are the benefits of tourism in the Philippines? Have you wondered? Well, from buying at full price to patronizing native attendants, then are 7 reasons letting you know the significance of supporting original tourism. First, it's our source of living. Second, it's nearly always cheaper. Third, you get to travel light. Fourth, it's sustainable. Fifth, it can have its borderline benefits. And sixth, robotic passages can be delightful as well. So, how can tourism be promoted in the Philippines? There are a lot that goes into promoting a destination, and utmost of its behind the scenes. First, websites. Every regional indigenous tourism office has a website. Second, attendance, press releases, blogs, social media, large activations, commercials. Update them constantly. And that's it. Now you learn the history of tourism and hospitality of the Philippines. So, let's visit the Philippines. Come on! I am Kananea Kale A. Guzman from Tagulwan Community College under the course of Bachelor of Science in Hospitality Management. Now, signing off. Pew! We are nurtured. Family char. Philip. Yeah, true. Lord Tapang. So, visit! Come visit the Philippines. Popular destinations ganina na mo ah.